What's up and welcome back to Rumor Has It Official. Let's get straight into talking about 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After. This is season 5, episode 4, and the title of this episode is She's a Wolf. Let's start off with Michael. So we get to see what Michael's up to while he is still waiting for the approval to come to America. So he tells his mom about his plans for Angela to come to Nigeria so that they can get married there. He says that getting married there and applying for the spousal visa is his best option so he can get to America and be with his woman. In the next scene, he goes to talk to his aunt and tells her that Angela, from time to time doesn't want him to stand up for herself and believes that men and women are equal. But in Nigerian culture, the man is in charge. They then discuss children and how Angela will not allow Michael to have a child with someone else if she can't give him any. Michael is very hopeful, but Angela can't give him a baby. He's like, Angie says she's promised she's going to try her very best. She's going to try hard to give me a baby. And I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, it's not going to happen. Comment down below your thoughts and let's move on to Colt. So this intro music they play for Colt every time has me weak. It is hilarious to me. I don't know if they're doing this on purpose, but it's just the music selection that they choose for his intro before we get into his segment that it just cracks me up every time. Now, moving on, in this scene, Colt tells his mother about Jess and that he's dating someone. As soon as he says that, Debbie pulls her glasses off and she doesn't seem happy one bit. Debbie says as long as Larissa's here, she doesn't think that he should be dating. She believes it's too soon, that he's not ready. Debbie starts to question Colt and tells him over her dead body when he says that he may go back and forth to Brazil or possibly consider moving there. She adds she'd hate for him to come home with a bride. She doesn't trust him and says that she's ready to start dealing with Jess. So that means she's going to be all up in his business again. Did anyone else notice the coffee mug Debbie was drinking out of? It said, best stepdad ever. Comment down below your thoughts and let's move on to Kalani and Asuelu. So Kalani says after seeing the doctor that she didn't feel like it would be safe to go to Samoa. Now, they show a previous clip of them discussing it with her parents, and Asuelu says he's upset because he's not the man of the house. Asuelu didn't want to cancel this trip and really didn't care to hear Kalani's parents' input. He responded to them, the doctor said it's up to us. He goes on to say that he feels as though no one stands by his side and that he has no power, so they win. He's very immature-minded and isn't thinking about what's in the best interest of the children, only that he wants to go back home. But hey, Kalani picked him, so. Now, instead of going to Samoa, they take a trip to California to celebrate Oliver's second birthday with her family. Now, that answers my question from the last recap when I was trying to figure out how old was Oliver, because I noticed that she was still breastfeeding him. The reason I wanted to know that was because he had a full row of teeth in his mouth. So I would kind of think that she would have maybe weaned him off by now, but she's a mother. She knows what's best for her child if she wants to breastfeed. Now, moving on. Now, on the way to California, Kalani makes mention that both the boys were up all night sick and that she doesn't feel well either. But she feels that the trip will be good and possibly help Asuelu not focus on the disappointment of not being able to go to Samoa. Well, she was wrong because it really made matters worse. Asuelu was mad salty, saying things like, if the boys are sick, then maybe it's not safe for us to be going to California. And also making comments like, you should cancel because the baby's safety comes first. Now, in the car, you have Kalani, her mom driving, the two boys, and Asuelu. During Asuelu's confessional with the camera crew, he says that he's upset because he's not the man of the house, that her parents stay with them and always take Kalani's side, but there's no one to side with him. So at first, you have Kalani in the back seat in between both of the boys, and you have Oliver screaming, and she's trying to calm him and also breastfeed the other son all at the same time. And Asuelu is in the front seat commentating on them crying. Kalani tells the camera crew that if things aren't going Asuelu's way, then he'll find everything wrong with her and try to find fault in everything she does as a mother. So in this scene, Kalani says to Asuelu, does he mind switching her because her back is starting to hurt sitting in the back seat? And he doesn't want to help, as usual, telling her that he doesn't really want to switch because when the kids wake up, they're going to need to be breastfed. Her mom stops anyway, okay? And they end up switching. So once they get back on the road, Kalani says, how are you doing back there? She's talking to Asuelu. And he says that he's doing all right. This is easy, adding that he has powers and magic. It's obvious that he's trying to be funny, and he even tells her to be quiet. Very childish. So Kalani then says to Asuelu, do you think my job is easy? To which he nods his head, yes. Her mom then chimes in and says, just her job or all women's jobs? And he said, a woman's job, adding only American women. Now, with the camera crew during a confessional with Kalani, he further explains his statement. He says, in America, we have machines to do everything. Going on to say, even with the kids, you can just plop them right in front of the TV, give them an iPad, a tablet, and it's just easy. Kalani says, well, then why don't you do it then if it's so easy? He says there's other stuff that he does. He's not done there, though. He says that he doesn't think Kalani can do what mothers in Samoa do. Now, back to this car ride. Asuelu is not done being disrespectful. When Kalani calls him a liar because he said that he wakes up with the kids at night, he calls her a lying bee. Yes, you heard me, a lying bee. The car would have stopped at the nearest store or gas station, and I would have left him there with his bags. The fact that he was so comfortable to say it and even say it around her mother, ultimate disrespect. Her mother then says, is this how you will talk to my daughter in front of your mom? And he says to her, I don't know how your husband talks to you, but she's my wife and I can talk to her however I want. Her mother then tells him to talk to her daughter like that in front of her husband. Kalani feels Asuelu only cares about himself and is purposely trying to sabotage the trip. I want to hear all of your thoughts on this segment because it was so much disrespect going around. I mean, I really don't see anything that Kalani did wrong, but if you have a different opinion about that, please comment down below and let's move on to Paul and Karine. So Paul says that he's trying to make Karine see how better life will be in America. So Paul wants to take Karine sightseeing and he gets them a cab to go pick up his car first. Once they get to his parents' house to get the car is a mess. I mean, completely filthy. And Karine says that she's not getting into that car because it's not safe. Now, Karine done came to America and now done turned bougie. I thought that was hilarious because I've seen that they've been in a lot worse situations in Brazil. But I don't know. Comment down below your thoughts and let me know what you think. Karine says that Paul is disappointing her, but he's been doing that since day one. So her expectations should be extremely low when dealing with him. When it comes to him, I don't know why her expectations are so high. I do, however, believe that she should continue to hold him accountable if she wants him to step up because that's what she signed up for when she said yes to marrying him. Paul should have taken a cab alone, in my opinion, and left them at the hotel so that he could have went to go and clean that car out properly for his wife and his infant child. But again, I'm not surprised that the car was a dumpster of a mess. It was a mess. Comment down below your thoughts. Let's move on to Colt and Jess. Colt says that he feels a lot of relief after telling his mom about Jess. He says at the same time, there's something that he hasn't told Jess about. Now, in this scene, he video chats with Jess and tells her that he told his mom about her, and then drops a bomb that Debbie invited herself to his upcoming trip to visit Jess in Brazil. That's too much. He should be embarrassed. Colt says that he feels like he owes it to his mother to allow her to come and meet Jess because she really got hurt a lot with Larissa. Yeah, I'm sure she did because she was too involved in their marital business. Jess doesn't seem to be ecstatic to meet Colt's mother, but I mean, how can a person say no without hurting someone else's feelings? But on the flip side, she could have been honest and told him that she doesn't feel comfortable or ready to meet Debbie. He goes on to say that he plans to get Jess's father's permission to date her. And Jess says that if her father says no, then it's a no, adding her father is more important. Comment down below your thoughts, and let's move on to Andrei and Elizabeth. So Elizabeth and Andrei are packing for Moldova, and in a week's time, her family will be flying there just in time for the wedding. In the next scene, it's the next day, and they're headed to the airport. Andrei says that he's been thinking about this second wedding for a long time, and it's going to be very exciting. Andrei says that he's eager to see his parents and brother, and Elizabeth is stressed because they still don't have a wedding venue in Moldova, and their families will be coming together for the first time. Comment down below your thoughts. Let's move on to Larissa. So Larissa says since her divorce with Colt, she's been trying to find a new man and live her life, but it's been very hard because of all of the baggage she carries, like being arrested 3 times for domestic violence. Yeah, that. Now, Larissa sees that Colt has moved on and decided to reach out to Jess on social media, and she tells her that she would like to talk to her. So Jess gave Larissa her phone number to call her. So Larissa in this scene calls Jess, and Jess is like, "Why did you want to call me?" Larissa tells her that Colt is a demon and things might be perfect in the beginning, but he will change. She tries to warn her, telling her to be careful, being that she is also an immigrant. Jess is like, "For me, Colt is cute and says beautiful words." That's how she said words. Words. Larissa's like, "Well, does he hide his phone from you?" And Jess says yes. Larissa even tells Jess to be careful of Debbie, calling Debbie a wolf. Jess says that she wants to try and work on her relationship and ends up hanging up on Larissa. Comment down below your thoughts. Let's move on to Angela. So Angela is going to look for a tuxedo for Michael. Coming along is her friend JoJo. And I don't know why she's even looking for a tuxedo when she doesn't have a witness for her wedding. Now, I've never heard of Angela having a best friend, but I assume that she was her backup plan and will probably try to get her to be a witness since Skylar said no. JoJo is very truthful once she gets there, talking to Angela and telling her that her actions are that of a 20-year-old. JoJo now shocks me because she offers to go to Nigeria to be a witness for Angela and Michael, but also plans to have a talk with Michael. She wants to see if his motives are pure. Comment down below your thoughts, and let's move on to Kalani and Asuelu. So Kalani says the whole car ride, Asuelu was saying a lot of things about her as a mom. They finally arrived to the Airbnb, and Asuelu says that he doesn't understand why Kalani and her mother went against him and said mean things to him. So now he's playing victim. Now, as soon as they get there, he heads to the fridge and gets a drink and then goes to the backyard. This dude stands on a chair so that he can jump up and reach unripe oranges from the tree. The oranges aren't ready yet, but he begins to peel one and starts sucking on them. Kalani comes outside to talk to him. He's telling her that hopefully the oranges will make him feel better because he's annoyed. He goes on to say that he doesn't like driving with her mom because she's annoying. She's literally trying to communicate with this guy that is supposed to be a man, but he has a 5-year-old's mentality. This is just a really tough thing to watch. Now, Asuelu gets upset with Kalani when she tells him that he's a manipulator and says, why is she using expensive words, not simple words? Kalani tells him that she expected him to come to America and be a man. She tells the camera crew that the whole time that Asuelu was in Samoa, that she would make excuses for his behavior because she thought that it would be different when he got to America, or that, you know, he was just a product of his environment. But boy, oh boy, was she wrong. These two don't have an equal partnership, and it's obvious that she ignored a lot of the red flags. So she saw them, but she chose to ignore them. Moving on, Asuelu, after they have this talk and Kalani goes back into the house to talk to her mom, he comes back in and he starts roll calling all the things that he's collecting. I need my phone. I need my luggage. You know, he starts roll calling everything he needs. And then he just leaves out the front door. Now, it was very dangerous because Oliver, their 2-year-old, knows how to open the door and just went outside after his dad. Had Kalani not been present, he would have followed his dad out into the street and got hit by a car possibly. So Asuelu just takes off, still mic'd, and when the producer finds him, he tells the camera crew to remove his mic, and he gets on the bus. Where he will be staying, who knows? With what money he will be able to get a hotel, who knows? He claimed he may be going back to Utah. Comment down below your thoughts, and let's move on to Angela. So Angela is packing her laced thong panties and getting ready for her trip. She calls her grandkids into the room and tells them that she's going to Nigeria to marry Michael. All her granddaughters want to be the flower girls. She even tries on her wedding dress for them, and they say that she looks beautiful. They were very happy, but they tell Angela if Michael's family can be there, but they can't, that's not fair, and it's not how it's supposed to go. They are all so cute and smart and express that they are disappointed. Angela talks to her mother in that scene as well, and she says that she can't bring herself to be happy to leave her family behind. Comment down below your thoughts. Let's move on to Andrei and Elizabeth. So Elizabeth and Andrei have taken several flights and have finally made it to Moldova. Andrei's father is so sweet and kind. He greeted Elizabeth with a bouquet of flowers and was very excited to see his granddaughter. Once they get to the house, Andrei's family is waiting to greet them, and everyone seems very nice and welcoming. Now, in the next scene, as they're sitting at the dinner table, Andrei should be speaking English for Elizabeth, but majority of the time he's not. Andrei tells his brother that he wants him to be the baby's godfather, and after they discuss that, they move on to talking about where they'll be getting married, to which Andrei doesn't know because he rushed this whole thing and he didn't properly prepare. They then want to know Elizabeth's religion, and when she says that she's Baptist, they say that she'll need to get baptized. Now, this caught her by surprise. She didn't know that this was something she would have to do. Now, when she goes to put the baby to bed, I didn't like that Andrei already is bad-mouthing Elizabeth's family and putting negative vibes out there about them. Instead of allowing his family to meet them and form their own opinions, when Andrei's dad came to visit, they were very welcoming to him, and he didn't get bad vibes from them. So it would have been good if he would have spoke up, the father spoke up in that moment when his son was planting bad seeds. Comment down below your thoughts, and let's move on to Colt. So this music they play every time we get in the scenes with Colt is hilarious. I'm going to just say that every time because it's funny. So in this scene, Colt invites Vanessa over for steaks also to thank her in advance for watching the cats while him and Debbie go to Brazil. So Debbie doesn't seem to be threatened by Vanessa, but doesn't like any other woman he tries to date. Colt admits to having a crush on Vanessa and says that they slept together. They both claim that they are best friends and were there for each other while going through divorces. In this scene, while they eat, Debbie and Vanessa start to question him about Jess. And Vanessa feels like Colt and Jess's relationship is moving way too fast, but how long did they know each other before they slept together? Now, Colt also at the dinner table admits to giving Jess over $1,000, buying her different things. He says that he likes giving her gifts, and it's not like he's giving her gifts for Botox. He was trying to be funny, talking about Larissa. So Debbie says that she wishes her son was with Vanessa, and I was really shocked. Or is she just saying that because she doesn't want him with a Brazilian woman and possibly moving away from her, she can't control the situation? Maybe with Vanessa, she feels like she could kind of control the situation a little bit better, you know, because she doesn't want to be left out. She wants to be a part of every single thing. Comment down below your thoughts. Let's move on to Angela. So Angela is going to her gynecologist to get a biopsy done. Angela's scared, and the way she hollered in that doctor's office, wow. She's cursing up a storm and telling the doctor to take it out now. And the doctor then decided to give her laughing gas to help relax her. She adds that she doesn't normally have to give it to patients because it's not usually necessary. And the way that she said it, you could tell Angela was putting on extra. Or she felt like Angela was putting on extra, so she just gave her that laughing gas. So the doctor gives her the laughing gas, and Angela's going to town telling her all her business, telling the doctor that she's pinching her coochie. Like, it was just too much. Angela is wild, okay? But the doctor is handling her well. So since cancer runs in Angela's family, she's really worried. And you can tell during her confessional when she talks about it, how worried that she is. Probably the most vulnerable I've seen Angela. Normally, Angela puts on this really tough and hard exterior. So that was different to kind of see her in that moment of actually being scared. She says at this point that she hasn't told her family because it could be devastating to them and Michael as well. Now, how about when the doctor first tried to do the biopsy and couldn't because Angela was screaming and she touched her nose with a contaminated glove? I bet she wished that she could take that back. Comment down below your thoughts, and let's move on to Larissa. So Larissa says that she got a letter saying that she had to go to immigration, and her friend picks her up, and she says she feels like she will be deported. She is fearful that Colt and Debbie are doing all they can to make sure that she gets deported, but I really don't think that's the case. I doubt that they even care about what Larissa is doing, to be honest. Larissa seems to care a lot more about what Colt is doing because she is reaching out to Colt's girlfriend, trying to convince her to leave Colt. So I think Larissa is a little more concerned with what Colt is doing than Colt is with Larissa. And that's most likely because Larissa doesn't have a boyfriend or anything else going on, but going to get body sculpting done, stripping on a pole. She doesn't really have anything she's doing. It's obvious during the car ride that Larissa is very worried, but I honestly don't think that she'll be deported, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So I really need to hear your thoughts on 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After. This is season 5, episode 4. The title of this episode is She's a Wolf. Comment down below your thoughts. Let me know what you thought about this episode. Give this video a big thumbs up. Share it with a friend who also loves watching 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you'll be notified on the next time I make an upload. And I will catch you all in the next video. Peace.